All right, so for part 3 on worksheet 2 of unit 3, I started by just making a rectangle that's 50 by 134. This is according to the top view, which is actually on the bottom of the worksheet. In order to make that big arc here, we're actually going to use a geometric concept that you do with compasses. And so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 35 in from each corner just to get a reference. And then from each of these points, what we need to do is we need to make a circle that's as big as the curve that we're trying to make, which is a radius of 42. So radius of 42 is a diameter of 84. And so I'm going to make two circles from these points that are 84, and then there's these two intersections. And so if we make a circle at either of these intersections, it's going to go through both of these points. And so if we made a circle centered here, the curve would curve outward. If we make a circle that's centered at that intersection at the top, it'll make a curve that's inward. So I'm going to make that, and then I'm going to start deleting some of these circles. And so what we can see here is that arc goes right into our shape where we want it to. The trim tool, which is in the modify section, is a good way to get rid of some parts of this shape that we don't need. But you also could just choose different sections of the shape when you're extruding. So now I'm going to be finished up. I'm going to go to my home view and extrude this. And I'm going to extrude it the smallest amount, which if I look at the front view, the smallest amount would be 18. So I'm going to make it go 18 high. And then on here, I'm going to put those rectangles. There's two rectangles on there's two rectangles in these bottom corners. Nope, excuse me, two rectangles in these top corners, and then one rectangle right here. So I'm going to draw those by starting a new sketch. And then getting the rectangle tool, starting this top corner, and I want it to go 30 down and 35 over. Do the same thing. This corner, it's the same size, so 30, 35. I'm actually going to extrude these first because they go up a certain height and the other rectangle goes up a different height. And so to do this, I'm going to finish my sketch, extrude, and we're going to go up an additional 12 millimeters. Now here I need to make my rectangle. It looks like it is 46 wide and 9 away from either of those. So if I make a new sketch on that same surface that we were sketching on before, I can go 9 away, and then I'm going to make a rectangle that's 46 wide. It doesn't matter what height it is as long as it goes to the edge, so I'm going to keep 50, tab to 46. That looks centered. I'm going to finish the sketch here, and I'm going to extrude and see if it perfect. So it gives me these two different regions. I only want this region, and I'm actually going to extrude it up and also down. So from this, it needs to go 58.5. So we are going to go in two directions. In the top direction, we're going to go up 28. And then the other direction, we're going to go 30.5, and this is going to go down through the shape towards the bottom. Now you'll notice that because that's going through the shape already, it thinks that we might want to be cutting out this region, and so we have to change the operation to join, and then we can press OK. So now we've got the top, the sides. Really all we need is filleting and chamfering, except for the bottom, which needs to be a circle. So I'm going to draw a sketch on this side, and what we're going to try to do is identify where the circle is and then cut out the section that is outside of that circle. So to get there, we're going to go 10 up from this corner and then center it on this shape. So it's 46 wide, half of that would be 23. So this is where our circle needs to be centered, and then we want our outside circle to have a radius of 22.5 or a diameter of 45. And so now we can see this region out here is what we want to get rid of. So I'm going to take the line tool and just connect it to these corners. And then I'm going to use the line tool to fully outline this section. So I can finish the sketch. I'm going to extrude. And I'm going to push it that way. And then instead of a distance, I want to go all the way through to cut away that section. And now we have that rounded bottom that we want. So in order to make the hole, we can use the hole tool, click this face, and then click the curve so that it's centered in the same spot. This hole isn't going to be fancy, so we're not going to put a drill point or any kind of hole tap. We want the diameter of that hole to be 25. Then we're going to make another hole on the top, but before we make this one, we need to draw a sketch so that we can know where we want to place the hole. So this is 23 over and 14 up. I can finish this sketch and then get the hole tool again. And I'll click right on that point so that it knows that's where we want the circle to go. And this one we are going to make somewhat special. So we've got a distance that we want it to go down. It's 23.8, which is just going to get it into this bottom cylinder here. The larger diameter is 10 at 90 degrees, and then the smaller diameter is 5.5. Press OK. And the last thing we have to do is chamfer. And it looks like a chamfer of 3, which is typical for the shape. And we can really see it the most if we compare it to that isometric view that's labeled front view. And so we can see that if we get chamfer, we click on the inside of the hole, oh, it looks like we're gonna have to actually cancel this and fill it first. So we gotta fill it, that way our chamfers can follow the curves. And this fillet is going to go on the outside corners. And these inside corners. I'm going to change my view so I can see. that inside corner, this inside corner. Also looks like this edge, and this edge. And I'm going to fill all of those a radius of 3. Press OK. And it's really important that we fill it first, because then that's going to allow our chamfers to follow those curves. And so for the chamfer, this is what I was saying before, the inside of the circle. And then we're going to use it along these top edges here, here. And notice that it goes all the way down and around the side. And so that's why we had to fill it first, so that when we click this edge over here, it follows that smooth curve all the way around and up the side. So this chamfer is also 3. And I think that that should be our finished product.